for this?
Booyah! We are back. It is Wednesday, December 13th. Counting down to the last show before the end of the year. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That means it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And we are here, as always, every Wednesday to treat you with our observations, views, and musings of sports in general. And also, we like to also highlight our local brethren here and friends in Southern Nevada on the prep side, collegiate side, and as well as the pro side, since we now have pro teams here in Las Vegas.
That's right.
We're hoping we're going to be joined by a really good friend of ours, Nathan Chapman, of this amazing program called ProKick in Australia. And if you've never heard of ProKick, I suggest you go online and take a look at them. But an Australian firm that is literally changing the landscape of kickers, mainly specializing in punters.
That's right.
Here in the United States. They now have 21 young men that are in Division I programs that are going to be in the bowl games.
Just in the bowl
games
right.
This year alone, 21. And they also have one that's currently in the pro ranks.
That's right.
Jordan Berry.
Yep,
who's a punter with
Steelers.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's an amazing program because, one, it hasn't been around a long time, and these guys are just getting it done. And we're really hoping that that we can get Chappie, as he's called by his Aussie mates, on the phone and joining us. We were looking at some of the names of some of the guys that are playing in these the bowl games. And we've had at least 3 or 4 on the show.
Yep, I count 4. We got Joel Dixon out of UAB. We got Dom down there in Texas Tech. We got Sleep Dalton at USC. And, oh, geez, I saw another one. I can't see it right now. But these guys are all Ray Guy award winner, finalists. And
yeah.
I think there's only one guy that's on the list that's not ProKick. I mean, that'll show you like how much they're dominating the college ranks.
We're fortunate enough. One of the alumni on a personal basis, Jake Eckwood, who was here in the United States and played for the Vegas Lions football team.
That's right.
And Squid, as he's commonly called. When you see these guys and you see their technique, how they practice, you realize why they're literally taking the country by storm.
Yeah.
And these are just the 21 that are in the bowl games. This is going to be continuing. This process is going to continue. You're going to see more and more of these young men. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with their background in rugby, Australian rules football, the techniques that they use. These guys are sticking them, inside the 10, inside the 20. It's very much a specialist type of business, and I think the best is yet to come.
Well, I'm texting him right now. I know this is extremely rude for me to be on my phone while I'm.
Well, it's a bit of a time difference.
It's already tomorrow afternoon almost.
Tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
and I think it's right now. It's about 10 a.m.
Yep.
In Australia. So his day is kind of just getting going, as ours is just kind of ending.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, we're very happy to announce that next Wednesday will be our last show for the year. And we will have the prognosticator himself will be making his possibly his final appearance, but certainly the final one of the year.
That's right.
Jorge Misch, the man from Cleveland himself, will be joining us next year, and we're recapping, of course, the predictions before the collegiate season, the bowl games, upcoming bowl games.
So we're going to go back and.
So we're going to go back, take a look at the predictions.
Oh boy. And
then see how they fared overall. And whenever we have George on, it's a great show.
Oh, absolutely.
It absolutely is. One, he's got a great sense of humor, but he spends a lot of time on this. This is a passion of his, and so we're really looking forward to having him on.
Well, I'm going to make an apology right now because
come on,
I picked literally UAB to have 1 win this year, and they won their conference.
Yes, they did.
And completely dominated most of the year. And, just watching a program that was literally done.
Wasn't literally. It was done.
Started back up,
yeah,
and then built it up to where they at. I mean, you just got to take your hats off to those guys down there.
If I'm not sure how the Coach of the Year awards goes based on the conferences, or certainly for that conference, he has to be a slam dunk for Coach of the Year. But overall, what he was able to do with that program, I mean, this is a program that UAB just said, we're sorry, we can't do football anymore.
Yeah.
It's too expensive. They brought it back, and this is a real success story.
Unfortunately, like Coach of the Year is probably going to go to Frost, bringing Central Florida from 0-11 to 12-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a hard.
It's a hard, that's one.
Especially when you're talking about, when you're talking about Florida, the state of Florida, who you normally have as the top teams, Florida State every year.
Miami. Yeah.
And then you have two teams that just came out of nowhere with South Florida and Central Florida. And then, of course, your boy Kiffin down there in Atlantic.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is, it's really Florida football has just completely changed the landscape.
Yeah.
And I think that you have the old Texas coach, Charlie Strong, at South Florida. I mean, they were one win away from, winning that conference in the championship game. Very close game.
Yeah.
Really good game, too. Hard-fought game. But, it has really changed, the recruiting. I mean, it's no more just, I could just, I'm Florida State. Now you have, of course, a new coach in Florida State, new coach in Florida.
Yes.
So Jimbo Fisher has decided to take the money and run over at Texas A&M. And, and Florida, for whatever bizarre reason, grabs Oregon's head coach. Unless they're just simply saying, well, this is a stopgap. 2 years or 3 years from now, we'll maybe be able to land the coach that we really wanted.
Yeah.
But it's, it's really surprising.
So that makes obviously up some interesting bowl games.
Oh, yeah.
So we're kicking off the bowl season this Saturday. I'm kind of looking forward to some of these games. I mean, we only are going to look at 6 games today.
Yes.
But it's the 6 games basically between now and next week's powerhouse show that we're going to have all the games. But so we can just get started when you want to rattle through there, and hopefully we'll hear from Nathan.
Chappie.
But if we don't, I do want to give credit to these guys, and I want to give them some recognition. So we will go through the teams.
Absolutely.
That ProKick is representing.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's start with the first one.
First one, we got Troy -6 at North Texas. Actually, I kind of like North Texas getting the points a little bit. Troy was one of the teams that I looked at as one of the better teams in the conference.
Right.
They've lived up to that year. That's one George can't throw some mud at me next week for. But I kind of like North Texas plus the points. The over-under 61.5. The game should go over pretty easily. The next game is Georgia State and Western Kentucky. Georgia State playing very well. I mean, considering what they've been through, I mean, they were like a non-existent program themselves.
Let's go back to the North Texas.
Okay.
I saw the last game.
Yes.
The conference championship game. And, they really kind of got their what handed to them.
Destroyed. Yeah.
And, but they still have an offense that can put points up.
Oh, there's no doubt.
So
I think I gave out the over in that game.
Yeah. I honestly think that, was it 61.5?
61.5.
Yeah. I'm not sure they're going to get that half point. I never am sure, but they love throwing these half points out of there.
If they can get lucky and have it 41-20 or something, so they can jam people on the hook. So what do you think? You're saying you like the over on that one?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's going to be I don't think there's going to be a lot of defense there.
Okay, sounds good.
So you had Georgia State
and Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. Hilltoppers -6.5, over under 49. Again, I kind of like the dog in this one as well. Georgia State's a good team.
And for anybody who really doesn't know, this is a program that is less than 10 years old.
Yes. Yeah, very young.
Very young football program. Yeah, I honestly like Georgia State coming into this as the dog. Yep. I really do.
Then when the next one, we obviously have the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yep.
We can just go on just a brief tangent on the Las Vegas Bowl.
Please do.
Okay. So what I try to do on a regular basis, I try to get to the game so I can have a better feel, do a little bit more for Southern Nevada sports news and the network and everything.
Hear, hear.
For some reason, we cannot go to this game. They will not allow us to go to this game.
Yes.
Now, they'll certainly sell us a ticket.
Yes.
So they're not saying we can't go.
No, just want us to
But
buy a
as
ticket.
media, we can't go. So just to recap what happened last year, okay, we actually had an interview scheduled with a punter from one of the teams.
Right.
And at the last second, something happened where they mixed up the credentials, and they basically denied me the credentials. So instead of being able to go to the game and doing the interview, I actually had to do the interview at the Mirage Hotel after the game the next day, right before these guys were leaving. It was very rushed and did not work out good. The material was poor. I mean, I went from having this great deal set up. So all of that aside,
Yes.
again, we get denied.
Yes.
And I always wonder what happens when I send an email and it says UNLV after it. So it has a name, and I'm not throwing names out there, but a name at UNLV. It almost always comes back no. And I always wonder about that, because here's a UNLV program, sports program that lost, what was it, in the millions, $4 million or something dollars last year?
Yes.
Between the football and the basketball, shutting down just two small guys like us, which is not really a big deal.
No.
You know, we only have, I don't know, 3,000 to 5,000 people a week to watch our show, 20,000 people a month.
Yeah.
You continue to shut us down.
Yes.
So it makes us hard to actually want to talk about UNLV and sports in general at UNLV. But do I sound bitter? Because I'm not really bitter.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We briefly touched on this conversation last night.
Right.
Or the night before last.
Yeah,
I'm
Monday
night. And no, I mean, honestly, because I'm still trying to figure out why is this happening. One would think you would want as much opportunity to get your brand out,
right,
and promote the school as possible, but not costing you a dime.
Nothing.
It's not like we charge these people.
Right.
Well, you want the privilege of us being there, but we're going to have to get an appearance fee.
Right.
No, we're simply trying to promote UNLV because it's within the orbit of our show. It's
well, not only
Nevada
that, but
sports.
it's something that we like to support.
Yes.
And, you know, I've lived out here for 25 years. I've supported the university the whole time I've lived here. I went to games when there was 3,000 people there. I went to baseball games. And I don't know if you know how many people go to baseball games. There's not many.
No.
I've went to women's soccer games and paid to go. I'm baffled by it. I mean, we've had the soccer team on here. We've done a lot with the hockey team.
Yes.
We've had baseball players on. We've talked to the basketball coach.
Yes.
I mean, I'm baffled by it, but I'm trying to just push for it. Okay, so I don't even know what else to say at this point, but when a professional organization can give me credentials, or us credentials,
Yes.
and a college that we support cannot give us credentials, it makes me really not to want to even talk about them at all.
Well, I tell you what, the Las Vegas Bowl, we've both been to.
Yes.
You know,
But
and
numerous times, like
yes,
probably at least 5 or 6 times I've been there.
and it can be difficult depending on the weather, but it is a day game, and it should actually be very nice this weekend. Sunny. But you talk about going to these games. Hey, I was there the very first game against Howard University, and granted I was on the other side of the field, but this was an opening game for UNLV football, which wasn't sold out. Maybe had about 18,000 fans there, if that. And it was like 105 degrees, 100 and some odd degrees. All I'm saying is that, look, we're going to continue to support UNLV sports. We differ on your approach to providing us with credentials.
Yeah.
Clearly. But it's up to you. The ball's in your court, folks.
Well, you know what the funny thing is that remember a few years back when it was like freezing at the game?
Yes.
I was actually at that game. I dressed warm. I had my park on, and I sat there with my buddies, and we actually watched the game out there in the freezing cold.
The last really cold game I went to was Boise and Utah. And it had rained, and it was still kind of rain. And this was a night game, and it was probably in the 30s.
Yeah.
Windy, cold, damp, and again, we were there.
Anyways, so we got Boise in a coachless Oregon -5, 63. I have to go with Boise. considering the condition and
even if their coach was still there, I'd go with Boise. To me, Oregon is just not a good team, and they still are kind of living off of that mystique of Marcus Mariota and Chip Kelly, but it's not there.
Yeah,
they don't surprise anybody. They certainly don't scare anybody. People go into Oregon and beat them. I mean, so. It is what it is, but I'm absolutely go with Boise.
Yep, absolutely. So the next one we got Marshall and Colorado State. Colorado State getting 5 over under 53. I like the Colorado State team.
Same here.
The issue is there was a couple games that they really laid eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly not laying 5.5 points with Marshall. I'd probably stay off the game completely, but if I had to bet it, I would take the dog again. And I'm looking at my trend here, and so far I've liked the dog in every one of these games. What do you think? You like Colorado State or?
I'm actually going to go with Marshall.
You're going to go with Marshall? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. These are all these games are Saturday, by the way. Arkansas State minus 3.5 against Middle Tennessee State, over under 57.
Arkansas State.
Yeah, I like Arkansas State myself, and that will be a very interesting game. That game's going to be as close. I mean, the spread's only 3.5, so they obviously know it's going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at this, and I might take a.
Is that one though that you're actually going to bet on?
I will bet Arkansas State, and I will definitely take Boise, maybe even on the money line, and then Georgia State on the money line. Those are three pretty solid plays.
Mm-hmm.
Then before we come back on the show on Wednesday, game Tuesday night, your boy Kiffin got a home game somehow. I don't know how this happened, but Boca Raton Bowl.
I have no idea yet.
It is literally a home game for him.
Yes, it is.
Minus 17 points, or maybe 16.5. Yes, 17 points.
Wow.
Against Akron, who was a little mediocre compared to like what we were expecting them to play.
Yeah.
They did beat Toledo though this year.
Hey, I'm absolutely going to go with FAU.
Laying those points.
The team really knows how to put points on the board, and they do it in a hurry.
Well, I'm gonna go with the over in that game, and I'm not gonna take a side, only because it's so many. What I was hoping is when I was looking at that game, I was hoping it was gonna be less than 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could have got like a 12, 13, maybe 13.5, I probably would have went that way.
Right.
17, that's 3 scores. And that's to get a push if it's a field goal. That's a little tough. I mean, even in college.
Yeah, one, it is a home game for him.
Right.
And two, I've just watching them the last couple of weeks. That offense, it really clicks, and they just know how to, and they really mix it up. I mean, it's not a lot of straightforward offense, and there's some trick plays that they throw in there. I just see them easily covering that.
Okay. You're saying easily?
Easily covering that.
Easily covering that. Okay. We'll see how Akron does. So we got about 10 minutes left in the segment. So when I initially saw, well, first of all, on Twitter, ProKick, AUS, which is Australia, but that's their name on Twitter.
Right.
When I first saw this bowl schedule, I was extremely impressed immediately. Because when you think about, there's 120 something teams.
Right.
I think the last time I saw, a little over 50 of those teams have a ProKick kicker.
50. Wow.
Almost, yeah. It's either 50 or right around 50. That's where I was hoping to get
that's
Chappie
absolutely
on there.
Amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
When you think about it, that's nearly half of the teams in college have a ProKick kicker.
Yeah, and that's where they're now looking to recruit from.
And we're not talking about, junk teams.
No.
So I'm going to go down the list of some of these teams.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got Georgia State.
Yep.
We have Colorado State, Louisiana Tech, and Southern Miss or Southern Methodist. I'm sorry, SMU.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing each other, which is always great. When
Yeah.
you see those guys, what they do is they get together and take a picture.
Yeah.
Because
And
it's
then
happened.
they post it. Yeah.
It's happened several times. We have UAB, Central Michigan, Texas Tech. Then we have Toledo and Appalachian State, and then Houston. That's just I'm just going down one side first. So we're not talking about lower end schools. We're talking about major.
Yeah, these are major
programs.
Schools.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you think about like what it takes to get a guy to college or get to a major D1 school, and you got these guys just lining up these punters.
Yeah.
And what I'm waiting for is our local team here that I'm not going to mention right now to pick up one of these guys. But again, I know that last year I got some calls.
CSN.
Not CSN, but hopefully we'll get a CSN football team because you and I have both tried. We've talked to Dexter.
Yes.
I've actually volunteered to go and raise money for this program because there's so many athletes in the Las Vegas Valley.
There is. It's still mind-boggling that Nevada is one of those very, bizarre states that does not have JUCO football, either north or south.
Right.
It just does not exist. And it limbos a lot of athletes who just don't have that opportunity. They either have to pay out-of-state tuition and go to a JUCO across state lines, or sit around and maybe wait till the phone rings.
Or what happens is these kids are taking scholarships in other cities. We got some kids over here at Faith Lutheran. They're going to San Diego State. We got USC. We got Dorian going to UCLA. We got Jacob. The lineman from Gorman that's going to Michigan State.
Right.
And we're seeing this over and over where because there's not enough here, that these guys have to go somewhere else and play. And to me, it's kind of a shame. But I understand you can't have everybody. But one team would, I think, be pretty solid.
Yeah, and and it would really. And again, I think it's going to happen. It's just hopefully it happens more sooner than later.
And on top of that, they have plenty of property down in College.
Yes, they do.
To be able to build a facility.
They certainly do.
So let me go through the second side of these. So then from there we have Mitch out there in Utah.
Right.
And a lot of these guys are Ray Guy finalists. We got Texas. We got Virginia Tech. Sleep Dalton from Arizona State has been on the show.
Yep.
We got a Kentucky, New Mexico State, Southern Cal, Memphis, and then we got two teams playing each other: Washington kicker and Penn State's kicker. That's going to be a really good game, by the way.
That is.
And then LSU to round it out. And these guys are great to follow on Twitter as well.
Well, a few years ago we had, I think it was the Emperor.
Yeah.
John
Smith. Yeah.
John Smith. And he was traveling. And he mentioned that it used to be a quick trip. Now he has to sort of plan these trips to the States because he has so many stops to make.
That's right.
And before it was a handful of places, and he was always looking forward to getting there on game day, especially if they were playing each other.
Yes.
But now, you have almost 50 of these young men scattered across the United States.
Yep.
So that takes a hell of a trip.
Man,
to plan.
It's great. It's good stuff. Well, I'm going to just take my hat off to ProKick and what they do. I think it's great
Absolutely.
that they continue to pour out to these young men. And we say young men, but some of these guys just don't have eligibility because they didn't have it in the United States.
Right.
Some of these guys are 25 years old.
Yeah.
Or 27 years old.
Yeah. And
so I wouldn't say is exactly
these aren't exactly 18, 19-year-olds
right.
Right out of high school, but they have their eligibility and they're making an impact. So you get not only a skilled athlete, you get a mature athlete.
That's right.
And so they're able to do more than just kick, because they also can be sort of a sounding board and sort of that even keel in the locker room.
That's right.
Amongst representing the players themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. It's a great program, and I really appreciate them. So looking at these games, just from what you see here, can you point out one that you just have to watch? The
last one you mentioned.
Oh, the Washington and Penn State.
Washington and Penn State. I think that's the one that I'm really. I'm not interested in watching USC. Nothing personal. I'm just not interested in watching them.
But if you think about it, USC and Ohio State's going to be a good game.
Yeah. I'll be rooting for Ohio State.
Ohio State is going to crush USC.
Oh, I think they're going to manhandle them. One, they're going to be just pissed off.
Right.
That
they didn't get
they're not in the big dance.
Yeah.
Because they certainly were representing a power conference, and they beat a really good Wisconsin team.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm still not sure how Wisconsin didn't win that game.
Yeah.
But will I be watching it? Absolutely. I can't say I won't be watching it, but I'm really looking forward to that Washington-Penn State game.
Yeah.
Of course, the playoff games, the semifinals games, I'll be watching those too.
Yeah.
And morbid curiosity, mainly. But of course, I'm going to watch those. Yeah, but that's the game that I think is really going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, those two games that are coming up. Sometimes when I'm just focusing through stuff in my head and thinking, okay, Jeff, what are you going to do on these games? Sometimes when I look at a game, I'll be like, man, I want that game really bad, but I don't always jump on it immediately. Sometimes I'll look at it and be like, okay, and then I'll look back at it and be like, man, why am I not betting it? And I'm going to tell you a great example today. I loved Villanova today. -9
Against
at
Temple. Right.
I was thinking, do I really want to lay 10 points on the road? They win by 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yesterday, I'm looking at the Albany's good basketball team. Doesn't play the same caliber at Memphis. Memphis -1.
Seems like a no-brainer.
So I'm like, I got to bet that. So I'm looking at it later, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I got to bet that. And I'm finally, before the game, I finally fired on it. Win the game easily. They were up by 20 in the first half, never even looked back.
Yeah, how did they get that -1?
I don't even know. Well, Albany went into the game 10-1. They were kind of figuring maybe they were going to be able to hold. I don't even know. Sometimes when I see these college basketball lines, I'm thinking to myself, did they know something I don't know? And I'm like, I start to search to try to find, like, why is this spread? And then I find nothing, and I'm like, I should just bet everything. But like, what if it's a trap? You know? So like last night was a perfect trap game to bet against Vegas, which I don't like to do. The Golden Knights.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights were a huge favorite against not a very good Carolina team. Down early, Vegas comes back, ties it, losing the shootout. But, easily could have got probably 140 plus 140 with Carolina. The reason why I thought it was a trap is because they play Pittsburgh next. And I feel like that game is like a big hype game. Just to give you an example, tickets for last night's game, $35. Tickets for Pittsburgh game, $125.
Yeah. Well,
you see what I mean?
Defending Stanley Cup champs.
That's right.
And
Fleury being.
They're always going to have, that sort of cachet.
Yep.
When they come to town. So I can kind of see that. Yeah, I would call it a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's why I stayed away. You want to take a break?
Yeah. We're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at predictions, any surprises from last week's.
Yep.
And then, of course, Jeff's picks. The Rascals' picks will be coming up as well. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bob Allen with Bob Allen Golf. I want to invite you to the newest, most exciting golf store in Las Vegas. At Bob Allen Golf, we handle everything for your game. We have men and women's apparel, shoes, golf balls, tees, gloves. Most of all, we do custom fittings. We want to make sure that your game is at its top performance. We have 2 PGA professionals on staff. They'll be glad to walk you through the steps and the process to get that game exactly where you want to get it. Come on into Bob Allen Golf. Bob Allen Golf is located at 6415 South Fort Apache Road, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89148. Don't forget to visit us at boballengolf.com. And remember, at Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
And we are back, round 2, the knockout round. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And it's time for us to get into picks for the week. And since we have already discussed the upcoming College Bowl, and obviously there's not a lot of college games going on right now.
Yes.
We'll kind of dive right into the NFL.
Sounds good.
All right.
So first, you want to talk about like last week?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what was your favorite game last week?
Favorite game to see highlights from the Buffalo game.
It was and
it was like a foot of snow.
I love that.
Absolutely, I can see why there were even a $6 ticket, which I think is what the StubHub were going for. I'd have been there. Had the right gear on. You got to go to at least one NFL game where it's just snowing like crazy. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
In terms of just games themselves, nothing really like sort of stood out. I was not surprised. Honestly, a little bit disappointed, of course, in the injury to a couple of quarterbacks, Marcus Mariota, but obviously Chris Wentz.
Yeah.
For the Eagles. and a torn ACL, red hot season. Foles comes in and does a little mop up, and then of course there's that horrible flurry at the end, and then they end up scoring a late touchdown when they were trying to, lateral the ball back, and unfortunately gave it to one of the Eagle players, and I don't think that was part of the plan. But the Rams are still scoring points.
Yep.
They, as far as the Rams are concerned, luckily the Seahawks lost. Arizona managed to win a game, but big deal. So, the 49ers won another game, but it's right now the Rams are kind of in that position where that they can actually come out and win this division.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And just to touch a little bit on the Buffalo, I just want to talk about Vinatieri for a second. This guy's been around a long time.
Adam Vinatieri.
He has a clause that if he makes 90% of his kicks, that he gets $500,000 extra, $500,000.
Not bad.
He missed 2 kicks in the snow, which pushed him down. He now has to make his next 6 kicks to get back to 90%.
Get back to 90%.
So, a little bit of pressure, but to think that you're going to lose $500,000 because of the snow. That's a little hard to choke down, I believe.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he's a veteran.
Yeah,
and he's made some huge kicks in the snow. One I can fondly remember against the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he knows how to make big kicks in big games. So I think if anybody will pull it out, Adam, here's to getting that bonus.
Adam, I really want you to.
I want you to get that bonus.
I mean that to me is heartbreaking when I see people like that. So we were talking a little bit about, you were talking about the West Division, and that one's really going to come down to the end. But you know what other division is?
Suddenly,
all of them.
Yeah, the NFC East.
All NFC,
with the exception of the AFC East.
NFC East is still opening.
Yeah.
Because if with Wentz going down and Dallas coming back, you got Ezekiel coming back from his suspension. That's going to ramp him up. The wild card is deep.
Yeah.
In the NFC.
For the Cowboys, they've got to win out.
Right.
To get a wild card. They really do.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Eagles are in a position now where they'll win that division, even if they back their way in. But where they go from there, they easily become the Raiders of last year. Their first game, they end up losing. I don't think Foles is going to be a kind of guy to take them to the promised line. And this, I hate to say it, but this season is lost. They'll absolutely win that division. They'll make the playoffs, and they'll probably lose their first playoff game.
Yeah, I believe so.
Doesn't matter where it's going to be. You're going to lose it. The team that everybody in the NFC needs to worry about is still the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah. I'm thinking Carolina.
Carolina's going to be there, but again, I just don't know how far they're going to go.
Yeah.
And and all you need is to get a moody Cam Newton, and then that's it.
Well, the reason why I like Carolina is because, arguably, the best team in the NFC is the Minnesota Vikings. If you really had to put it down where you had to take one of those teams, overall with the defense and over as a balance, I think Minnesota. The fact that Carolina was able to pull out that game was impressive to me. I'm still kind of waiting for Case Keenum to be Case Keenum.
To go back to,
like his LA days.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that. It hasn't happened. Whereas I guess it was the St. Louis days. But I'm still waiting for that to happen. But now you have Aaron Rodgers coming back.
Well, apparently, I honestly think they could not pick a worse team for him to come back and play against.
There's no doubt.
The Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
I mean, these guys are hard-hitting, hard blitzing. And, and I just think this is an opportunity for him to get hurt again. And I don't know. I think that it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think that, if you want him to continue to play for a few more years, you need to rest him, let the chips fall where they may, and allow him to get 100% healthy and come back and play.
Even if it's one more week. I think I agree with you.
Yeah, I just, maybe, I know if they're that desperate to get to the playoffs, then this is the risk that you run.
Well, but think about it. I mean, they're 7-6. The Lions are 7-6. The Lions play Chicago this week, which is a team they should beat. But Bears arguably played their best game of the year last week against the Bengals.
Yep.
In Cincinnati. So I'm thinking about these teams that all have a possibility. You have New Orleans. You have your boys in Tampa Bay. By the way, were eliminated, but
didn't see that coming.
Yeah, you have Carolina.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you have Atlanta still,
and you have Atlanta
still in the.
So
in the
you
hunt.
have 3 teams in the North. You have 3 teams in the South.
Yep.
You have a couple of teams in the East that still have an opportunity,
and a couple of teams in the West.
And it's to me, it's like, I don't know that I've seen at this point of the year, just 3 weeks
Week
left.
15.
This much of game to play.
It's absolutely amazing, and thanks to the Chiefs falling apart, that they made that division, competitive from snout to tail.
Yeah.
Still, some way, Denver is still in it. So it's it's a pick 'em as far as the AFC West is concerned.
Yep.
The East is the Pats.
Yeah.
No doubt about it, and it's only going to be
even with the loss.
It's only going to be the Pats.
Yeah.
And then of course you've got the Norris division.
Yep.
As Boomer used to call it.
Great game last week with.
How does Pittsburgh keep winning these games?
You know what is amazing to me is Baltimore giving up 500 yards passing. I mean, they have a pretty solid, stout defense. But when I was watching that game, I was saying to myself, they're going to pass. They're going to pass. They're going to pass. It seemed like I was the only one that knew that, because Baltimore's defense certainly didn't know that. But whatever. So going into this week, so we got some big games, obviously. We got Green Bay and Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game myself. Baltimore laying 7 against the Bengals, the Browns. The Browns now are down to 2. I think their best opportunity was actually to win a couple of weeks ago. They had Green Bay beat, gave that game away, which I was really happy, because I only took 2 games this week. I took the Lions, and it was a pick 'em, and then I should have been at that game. I really wanted to go to that Bucs game. My wife talked me into going to a stupid wedding instead, and I know she's not watching this show, so I'm going to say it. But the wedding was good, and congratulations, by the way, to the Willises. But they scored the touchdown in overtime. I was laying 3 points. I ended up winning. I was thinking I might get a push.
Right.
But they were lucky enough to score a touchdown, so I won my bet. So I went 2-0 last week. It was pretty nice to see. What about Jacksonville, man? What do you think of Jacksonville?
Again, it's a tough team.
Yeah.
I think they're fortunate to be in the division they're in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with Watson going down for Texas, because it really would have made for and if Mariota stayed healthy, it would have made for a really competitive division. But they surprised me, and I'm always just kind of skittish about. First of all, I'm not a betting person.
Yeah,
everybody knows that. But it's one of those teams that every week I'm looking at. They're not going to win that game.
Yeah.
They're not going to win that game, and they keep winning.
Keep winning. Yeah. Like last week, for example, with Seattle.
I took Seattle. I mean, I was just like, oh no, it's an easy one. Seattle's playing. They're playing. They're red hot now. Wilson's playing really good ball. They could be one of these teams that just shocks everybody. And I could kind of see them being in a position where they host a playoff game, maybe even they would probably host 2.
Yeah.
And if they win, depending on what happens, of course, in the other games, they could end up, getting a ticket to the Super Bowl.
I could see that, but there's a couple great games that I'm looking forward to watching this weekend, and
Chicago, Detroit, on Saturday.
Chicago, I think, they play early this week.
Yeah,
Chicago and Detroit, I don't think is going to be as good of a game as people think. Detroit has a hard time covering against Chicago. Certainly, I definitely will not be taking any action on this game, but if I did, it would be the over, because Detroit's defense is not playing well at all.
Right.
The second game on Saturday I really like. I think the Chargers really need to – this is their chance.
Yeah, it sure is.
With the Raiders losing last week, the Chiefs, just being the Chiefs and what they're doing right now, the Chargers have a wide open opportunity to take this division away.
Absolutely.
So I see Rivers coming up. I mean, it's Chargers are -1, and I could see them covering that game and winning that game.
you know, as bizarre as this sounds, Denver is just still not out of this damn thing.
That's right.
They've got Indianapolis on Thursday night,
Which
they should win.
Yep.
Which probably tells me that Indy's going to win. Because out of nowhere comes suddenly the Denver defense responds back. They show up, and they hadn't showed up literally all year long. And they actually put a few points on the board.
Yeah.
I don't know if Denver can do that 2 weeks in a row. Even against Indianapolis. Even against the Colts.
Okay.
They play down to people. They really do.
I have a tendency to believe that.
You know, I know you're rooting for Baltimore this week. Keep Cleveland in the hunt.
Okay, so let's go.
Perfect season.
Let's go down the line first. So who do you like? Do you like the Lions or do you like the Bears?
Oh, absolutely. I like the Lions.
Okay. So in the second game, you got the
Chargers.
You like the Chargers? I'm on the Chargers.
I really like Kansas City, but if I were putting money
your
down,
team is obviously Kansas City, or one of your teams. You got family in Kansas City, so
absolutely.
you're always rooting them in.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning, we got the Bills and Dolphins. Pretty even matchup as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're expecting 40 degrees, which is rain, unfortunately. Hopefully it'll get a little colder and it'll snow again, but 40-degree rain is miserable. Yeah,
there's nothing worse than be cold and wet.
So, I mean, can Cutler pull off another game like you played this week?
Of course not.
Drizzling rain?
No.
Okay. I don't believe so either. I'm taking Buffalo.
Not a chance.
Okay, so we got the Ravens and the Browns. You know, the Ravens are -7. I have a sneaky suspicion that the Browns are going to cover this game.
Yeah, I think the Browns are going to win because this is the week for the offense of Baltimore to take off. Yeah, they put up a lot of points last week in a losing effort. And
but they're still alive. They're still alive in the.
But that's all the reasons. And now it's time for Flacco to go out there and put another goose egg up on the board.
I'm going to take Baltimore to win the game, but barely.
Yeah, safety.
Okay, so I want to tell you, I hope you're right. I do not want anyone touching the Lions 0-16 record.
No, you don't.
I definitely want the Browns to win one game. Okay, so next game we got Bengals at the Vikings. Vikings are -10.5. That should be an easy Minnesota play.
Yeah, Vikings snap back and they get back on the winning streak.
Yeah.
And they
Bengals are just really not a good team. Yeah. And you know what? I might even lay the 10 points in that because the Bengals are very poor.
They are very poor, and they can't hold a lead. Even if they get one, they can't hold a lead.
Yeah, and you know what? I think in a sense they've kind of given up on their team. They're 2-4 on the road. I just don't see any upside.
You think this is finally the last year for Marvin Lewis?
What? Like 2 years ago was his last year. If you really look at it,
you know,
honestly,
it's the Charles Barkley monkey theory.
Well, you know what the funny? Yeah, what is it that he's got pictures of someone?
That's it.
Sleeping with
That
a
he
monkey?
has pictures of somebody higher up in the Cincinnati organization having sex with a monkey. That's the Charles Barkley monkey theory. How people keep jobs they don't deserve.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so we got the 9-4 Saints against the Jets. Okay, so the Jets are 5-8.
Yep. And
Easily could be 8-5.
Easily be 8-5.
Easily.
You know, I don't know how they managed to lose some of these games, but they sure do.
Oh,
and they're going to lose
terrible.
this weekend against the Saints.
They are going to lose. But what do you think, a 14-point spread?
No.
Well, 15-point spread now.
Absolutely not. No, I don't think they cover that.
You don't think the Jets cover it, or the Saints?
No, Saints aren't going to cover that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can take that. I can agree with that. 11-2 Eagles against the 2-11
Even
Giants.
Foles manages to beat the Giants this week.
-7.5 at the Giants.
I changed my mind. I think that no, I don't think they're going to cover against the Giants.
But Philly wins. So you're saying Philly wins?
Philly wins.
Okay, but they
don't cover.
But they don't cover. Yeah. And you know what? I agree with that because covering 7.5 is hard enough on the road. Doesn't matter what your record is. Yeah. The fact that you're playing your backup against a team that has really nothing to lose. These teams really don't like each other.
No, they don't. It's a divisional rivalry. It's always just a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean they have nothing to lose. So if they can knock them down a spot,
sure, yeah,
then they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean this is I just I see them winning, but I see them really working their asses off to get that win.
We have the Cardinals and the Redskins. One of the only games of the weekend that absolutely means nothing.
Nothing.
The season's over for both teams.
Yeah.
I don't see any advantage to betting either one of this game at all.
I do. only because I see Washington. I think that for Washington's quarterback,
Cousins,
this is it's about stats.
Yeah.
Because some way they're going to pay this guy a fortune.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay him a fortune. And rest assured me, Washington will just be a second or third place team with a very, very expensive quarterback.
Yep. Well, I mean, they have no run game. They let both their running backs go last year, so I'm still going to take Washington to win.
Oh yeah, absolutely, they will win that game.
And what is it, -4? Probably won't bet it, but if I had to bet that side, I would take Washington. Carolina and the Packers. Carolina -3, over under 47, which would probably be my play.
I would take the under in the game, and I would take Carolina.
Carolina and under.
Yeah.
I don't think Green Bay has a chance to win this game. With Aaron Rodgers, you always have a chance. So I don't know. I kind of agree with you, but I'm not in the doctor's office, and I don't know if this is it really is healed situation, or if it's like, let's get him on the field situation. So if it's this is really healed situation, then play the guy.
Yeah.
You're paying him.
But if you think that one of the real elite quarterbacks of the NFL is being thrown into this either or.
Like Tony Romo?
Yeah. Well, no, I said elite quarterbacks of the NFL.
Ooh. A shot across the bow.
Oh, did he? Yes, I did.
Okay.
Put that out there.
All right, so 9-4 Jaguars.
By the way,
4-9.
Tony Romo, the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, I love Tony Romo's analysis of games. He actually is like, they're going to throw it to the slot receiver. The next play, they're going to run a pitch right here. And it's like almost annoying that he knows that much, but like, you know why. Because he looks at the defense. He already knows what he's going to do as a quarterback.
And he would do as he's a quarterback.
Yeah, he's like going to audible out of this, and they're going to throw it to the slot. Audibles out, throw it to the slot. It's like, why? How's this happening?
Well, he won't be in the booth next year because he'll be coaching the Dallas Cowboys.
You think?
Absolutely.
I think that'd be great.
He is Jerry Jones' love child. He is Garrett's. Has shot himself in the foot. Yeah, he's always known he's been just sort of that redheaded stepchild down there in Big T.
I would love to see that. Okay, so we got Jacksonville at home against the Texans. Jacksonville -11. When's the last time you seen that?
I don't know how they're going to do it. And again, this is a rivalry too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. They'll win, but I don't think they're going to cover.
Jags to win. I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well, just because Houston is really struggling. Yeah. Probably one of the games of the week. 8-5 Seattle against the Rams, 9-4.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Rams, and I think they're going to. And the Rams should be the favorites. Are they?
The Rams are Seattle -2.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would absolutely take the Rams.
Okay, I'm going to take Seattle. I'm going to lay the points. I think that's a tough place to win. And the Rams, although they've come around, I don't think they're completely there. They are 5-1 on the road.
It's an early game.
Yeah.
It's 1:00. So it's not like it's a night game.
Yeah.
If it were a night game, I'd take Seattle. But the Rams are playing really, really good ball.
Arguably the best game of the week. Patriots at the Steelers. New England -3 in Pittsburgh.
Somehow Pittsburgh just keeps winning. I've got to go with the Steelers.
You're taking Steelers. I'm taking. I like the points. Patriots are not going to lose 2 games in a row. It's not going to happen. It's going to be cold, raining possibly.
Well,
perfect weather for football.
It's perfect football weather, especially for these guys.
Yeah, for these two teams that are used to playing.
Absolutely.
We got the 3-10 49ers hosting the 8-5 Titans. San Francisco actually -2. I actually
Mariota
like
in that game. Is he back?
I don't think they've said that what is going to happen in that game yet.
I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think Garoppolo is kind of settling in, and San Francisco has never really been like outrageously out of any game this year. They play hard. They play from snout to tail.
Yep.
I'm going to go with San Francisco.
I'm going to take San Francisco as well, -2. And Raiders and Cowboys, basically must win for both teams.
Absolutely must win.
Dallas -3.
Yeah, I'm going to.
This would be Sunday night game, by the way.
Sunday night game. I'm going to go with Raiders.
Raiders.
Yep.
Oh man, I hate to say even Cowboys. I'm going to take Oakland too. I don't see that. Neither one of these teams. I would never bet on this. If you gave me money, I would actually take you to dinner with the money. I wouldn't even
bet.
bet.
The sponsor.
I mean, that's a horrible game. And then Monday night game, we got Atlanta 8-5 against the Bucks.
Horrible game.
Yeah, but Atlanta has to win.
Atlanta has to win. Bucks could just,
they could just roll over.
Yeah. I don't think they'll roll over. I think they'll give it all they got because it's a rival.
Yeah.
And it's also everybody's watching. It's Monday Night Football. So all of your Patriots, your brethren around the league, your buddies, everybody's watching that game. So,
well, if Atlanta loses that game, there could arguably be 4 other 8-6 teams, and there's actually a couple of 10-win teams and a 9-win team in there with Carolina.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough if you lose that game.
If they're
almost in a must-win situation.
Oh,
to
they
keep
are.
Pace.
Just to keep pace.
Yeah.
And because I think they both look at it, they both see Carolina and New Orleans probably winning.
Yeah.
So by the time it gets around to Monday night, it's going to be a must-win for these guys.
And that might be the difference. If both of those teams win, that might be that might go from the 6.5 to what it is right now to up to 8 to 9 points.
Yeah.
So if you like Atlanta, bet it right now. Do not wait. Do not wait. But I can tell you right now, that's on every single teaser this weekend. Everyone will have that 6.5 point teaser with Atlanta.
The teaser special.
And can we throw a little 3-team teaser right now together? Yeah. This was a $1,000 3-team teaser. You want Atlanta. I don't like to cross over, so we're not going to take that. Let me see. That would be a crossover as well. Let's take Philly -1 to beat the Giants.
Okay.
And let's take the Browns -0.5.
Your 3-game teaser?
Just go and bet that. Put 1,000 on it and take your wife out to dinner and make her car payment, whatever you're going to do. That should be easy. All right, I think that's about it.
All right.
Oh, we got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Let's see. We already lit up UNLV.
Hey, you know what? I didn't want to light them up. I want to basically, you know what? And I'm actually going to tag this show.
I didn't want to. It could have been our editorial.
No, honestly, when I think about the fact, okay, so I knew a guy that worked at UNLV last year,
right?
And he told me what their major problem was. They had 14,000 season tickets sold.
Right.
The problem was that only 4,000 people, 5,000 people were showing up. So when you think about it, yes, you got your money.
Yeah.
But that's not how they make money. They make money by a family of 4 going and spending $100 at the snack bar. Or $70, and then when you're minusing $10,000 of that, minus 10 or 15 home games, you're losing millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, you know what you guys should do is you guys should actually get on every single show and give out tickets.
Just give away tickets. Get people there so that they're buying at the snack bar.
Something.
Yeah.
Just to do something.
T-shirt, a cap.
Do you know what he did? He actually laughed at me. And then I literally tagged him in the story, LOL. You know, like, you're going to laugh at me, but you guys lost $4 million. So, and you know what? And I'm not saying that it's funny. I don't think universities losing that kind of money is funny. What I think is when you have a marketing staff and you have people that are in charge of your university, you need to do everything you can. And you know who's going to help you? Guys like us.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to. Especially if we're not asking you to spend any money.
Listen, if we were up in Reno, I could kind of see them thinking, why?
Yeah.
What's the point? We're right here.
Yep.
Give us some thought.
That's it.
All right. Well, listen, we're really sorry we didn't get a chance to get Nathan Chapman on there.
We'll work on getting him the first part of next year.
But, if you want to see go to their website, which is, I believe, ProKick.com. Yeah,
B.au.
Yeah, and it's an incredible story.
Facebook, ProKick, Twitter, ProKick AUS for Australia.
All right. And to join us next week, this is going to be the college preview show. We're going to have George Jorge Mish back in the saddle again, and it will also be our final show for the year. Next Wednesday, December 20th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, another edition of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. Have a great week.
God bless.